Hey friends, welcome back to the Bald Booktuber. My name is Scott. We're doing our January wrap up today. As I've mentioned before, I love January. It's one of my favorite months. It's my birthday month. It's new beginnings. Happy birthday to my niece Ella, who turned 9 on the 11th. Happy birthday to my brother-in-law Jason, her dad, who had his birthday on the 31st. And of course, happy birthday to me, who turned an indeterminate age on January 29th. I had a really good reading month, so I'm excited to share the 8 books that I read with you, and we can talk through that. I'll have another video in the next day or two that will talk about what my plans are for reading in February. I started the month as part of the read along that Mike is doing on his channel, and also with the Quilluminati, the other members that he's reading this along with. We started with Magician Apprentice. This is the first book in the Rift War saga. So this is part of a bigger series. I think it's 20 plus 30 some books. But this particular series in the US was released as 4 books. So we have Magician Apprentice is the first book of that. Raymond E. Feist, who I had read absolutely no words from previous to this, and I quite enjoyed it. It reminded me a great deal of Shannara by Terry Brooks, a very classic 80s fantasy. I really like Pug, the magician apprentice namesake that the book is modeled after. I really liked Thomas, his friend, and just learning a little bit about the lore of the world, and then seeing the rift open up and the shenanigans that happen with that. So I gave this a solid 3.5. Having a great time. I actually started, today is February 2nd. I actually started Magician Master today, which is book 2, but we'll talk more about that in my February plans reading video. This is narrated by Nicholas Guy Smith. Again, a narrator I was completely unfamiliar with, but I quite enjoy his narration. I think he does a really good job with this series, and I'm excited to see that he, I believe, does all 4 books, so that makes me very happy. So that is good news for someone who likes to audio a lot. This was read immersively with both the audio and the Kindle. After that, we had another fantasy series. So this is a series that I am buddy reading with my friends Madison, Brent, and Lino. We are having a great time with Tad Williams' Shadow March. So this is another quartet. This is book 1. It's just called Shadow March, and we get introduced to some really cool court intrigue. We get introduced to, I always like twins in fantasy, and these particular twins are quite interesting to me. My favorite character is one of the 2 twins, the Princess Briony. She's great. I'm interested to see where her character goes. 4.5 stars. This is narrated by Dick Hill, who I've had some experience with as a listener. I listened to some of his Reacher novels, the first couple of Lee Child Reacher novels. I think he's probably better suited to that type of action thriller genre, but he does a decent job with these. Really looking forward to more of this, and I will start Shadow Play very soon. Next up, I did my first reread, but I'm sure will not be my last reread of the year so far. This is a short novella called The Law by Jim Butcher. This is essentially number 17 and a half in the Dresden Files. It takes place right after Battleground and prior to 12 Months, which I'll talk about here in a few moments. This was good. I did the audio narration along with the Kindle read for it. Solid 4 stars. All right, this next one I feel bad about. My friend Brian over at BellTube has been singing the praises and the good news of not only the lit RPG genre, but this series specifically. And this is the series The Good Guys by Eric Oogland, and it is narrated by Neil Helligers, who's a new narrator to me, but very good. I was on Read by Kyle's channel recently, and I'll link to that. But I was on there in a discussion with Kyle and Madison and Taylor. And one of Kyle's questions was, what books have disappointed you recently? And for me, it's really this lit RPG genre as a whole. I just can't seem to get into the spirit of it, I guess. I'm having a tough time figuring out the appeal, maybe. So at its base, what lit RPG is, from what I can tell, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons or a Final Fantasy game, but doing it through book form. And my problem is I don't like the whole in the background we have all these character stats and everybody's got their character sheet and everybody's pulling up their inventory of their items and everybody does this and that. There's a bunch of grinding levels and it doesn't appeal to me. Whether that's lit RPG or progression fantasy or whatever, it isn't working for me. I actually tried Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is I know everyone's favorite series. I didn't like it at all. I gave up maybe halfway into that. I tried another lit RPG series last year called Battle Mage Farmer, which is a favorite of my friend Madison. I gave that up maybe 75% in. This I actually saw all the way through, but I kind of wish I'd DNF'd it. So probably about 2.5 stars. The name of the book is One More Last Time, and it's the Good Guys series. I guess I can understand why Brian likes it, the humor and so forth, but I just never felt any emotional resonance with anything that was happening. The main character does nothing for me, and I didn't feel any stakes, like there wasn't any weight to anything. Less than 50 pages in, his character dies and he respawns, which is fine, I guess. I don't. It wasn't for me, so I won't be continuing with the series, unfortunately. Brian, I'm sorry, man. I feel bad about that one, but I got other stuff that I'm excited about that's going to take priority. So this I wanted to like because it's like 16 books and new books are coming out. It's a long series. I love long series. We'll talk again more about Dresden Files. And not only that, but there's like a spin-off series called The Bad Guys. This is the good guys. There's the good guys and the bad guys. And that has 10 books or something. So I was hopeful that this would work for me, and it just didn't at all. So your particular mileage may vary. I know Brian is huge on the series. And again, I can recommend the narrator. Neil Helliger's was fantastic, but I just was not into it. That one I did audio only. All right, let's get to the stuff I did love. So this is 12 Months. This is the book that I've been looking forward to for years. We got book 18 of the Dresden Files, a very special series to me. I've been reading this since the very early 2000s, reading and listening. I, of course, read and listened to this on release day. Typically, I would take a day off work for a new Dresden release and binge it in a day, but got a new job and busy in training and stuff. But instead of binging it over the course of one day, with work and everything, I binged it over the course of two. So Dresden Files just read super fast. I'm not going to go a ton into any particular parts of this because I've already done that. I will link, I had a spoiler chat with my friends Madison and Josh. Their channels are Madison Goodyear and Red Fury Books, of course. And it was a great discussion. We had a great time talking through that this book has entered into one of the certainly favorites for all of us, each of us in the series, which is pretty impressive on an 18th book of a series, and when there's been a layoff of 5-6 years at this point. So, really impressive by Jim. Again, it's Dresden Files, so it's Jim Butcher, and we've got Jamie Marsters, the absolute man, on the audio. So, really, really good. If you're unlike me. I love Battlegrounds, my favorite in the series. But if you're the exact opposite of me and you hated Battleground, I would still encourage you to pick this up because it may change some things for you, get you back on the train. All right, this next one was sort of a wild card pick. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere. I have owned a ton of Mark Lawrence books forever, audio and Kindle, and I just have not really gotten to them. So I decided to pick up Prince of Thorns, which was his debut novel. It's the first book in the Broken Empire series, and I liked it. I thought it was a good introduction to the world and to the main character. Jorg is the main character. He's a little tough to deal with sometimes. I have to believe Lawrence, when he started writing this, was thinking, what if Game of Thrones, but Joffrey is the main character? That seems to be kind of what he was trying for here. And it's executed pretty well. A lot of people adore this book and this series. I liked it. I didn't love it. Some people that do love it, my friend Brent adores it. Robin Hobb, my favorite author of all time, adores this book and this series and pretty much everything that Mark Lawrence writes. She gives 5 stars indiscriminately to. So like that's her guy, I guess. I don't know, but I will certainly continue on with the series. I don't have immediate plans to pick up the next two, but it'll happen sometime this year. What I'm really looking forward to is get the second trilogy after this, which is Red Queen's War, which is in the same world. So just like with most things, I'll read it in publication order. Not in any special rush to get to the next one, but certainly something I do want to explore further. All right, I had some extra time towards the end of the month, so I decided to pick up. This is the bind up, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We'll talk more about the series, TV show on HBO, but this is the bind up. This includes all 3 novellas of Dunk and Egg. The first one, of course, is The Hedge Knight. That's the one I read. I've read it a couple of times before, but because this first season of Night of the Seven Kingdoms is based on that story, I decided to pick it up again. It's like 80 pages. I read it in an afternoon or something. It didn't take me very long. I do own the audio for this. It's a good audio. It's done by Harry Lloyd, who is the actor that played the series in the original Game of Thrones series. But I decided just to read it from the bind up here, so I just read it physically. And had a wonderful time, as I always do. I think some part of George loves these stories more than the main novels, and I think it comes through in the writing. It's a really good story. If you are not uh, familiar with it, I can't really tell you who the characters are, but it will be revealed what their potential importance is. And if you're watching the show, you'll figure it out relatively quickly as well. But 5 stars, no notes. It's awesome. Not much more to say beyond that. My final read was a weird one. This is Fall of Hyperion, book 2 of the Hyperion Cantos. I started it probably, I don't know, the second week of the month or something, but I didn't finish it until the final day of the month because other things just kept popping up. New releases, uh, try out this lit RPG series, read some Hedge Knight, and different stuff. So I just kept pushing it off, but I did finally finish it on the final day of the month. Of course, Dan Simmons. This one is narrated entirely by Victor Bevan, who I quite enjoyed as a narrator. One of the appeals of the first Hyperion book is that it was a kind of a all-star cast. So you had different people playing different characters. And I like that. I don't always love ensemble casts, but in that case I do with that particular audiobook for Hyperion. But Victor Bevan did a very nice job and I think added a ton to certain characters. This book was an odd experience. I think overall I enjoyed it. It certainly has its detractors for various reasons. The structure of it is quite strange, very different from the Canterbury Tales telling in the original. This is from a point of view of a new character who sort of dreams people's what they're doing, and it didn't really work for me. There were enough things that I really did enjoy, though, specifically Simmons' writing. I think he's exceptionally talented. I did love certainly moments in the final quarter of the book. The final showdown with the Shrike was not perfectly executed in my opinion. I thought that was could have been done differently. Pretty weird, but there were other things that I did especially enjoy throughout the story with Rachel and her aging backwards and her father Saul trying to miraculously find a cure or find some way to stop the anti-aging process, I guess. It was very interesting to me. I like how that particular story was settled. So there were enough things that I'd give it out for, but there were enough problems with it that it it makes me reluctant to jump into Endymion. I will read it, but it's not high on the priority list at this point in time. So I will get to it. As far as stuff that I watched, just the main one again is Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I was nervous after the first episode. There's been 3 episodes now that have dropped as of this filming. The first episode, I certainly had some problems with. I loved our 2 main characters. I don't know that you could cast Dunk and Egg better if you tried. They're just amazing casting, really good. Both actors are exceptional in their roles. But that first episode, as an introduction piece, and I watched it prior to my reread, it left a bit to be desired for me on a few counts. I don't love the kind of toilet humor and the additional swearing and stuff that they've added to it to sort of Game of Thrones it up. I'm not, I don't consider myself a prude or anything, but I think this could have been an opportunity to be more inclusive in who you bring in with your audience. So I think certainly it could have been, yeah, knights killing each other and stuff is probably never going to be family friendly, but it could have at least been, I think, PG-13ish. And maybe it still is. Maybe I'm just an old man. I'm not sure. But some of that didn't land very well. Some of the humor I didn't love in that first episode. But then we got episode 2, and then especially we got episode 3. And my goodness, both of those episodes are amazing. Episode 3 might be some of my favorites Game of Thrones on TV that I've seen, and that includes Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and now this. So that's a pretty high bar. This again is my favorite fantasy world. It's one of my favorite. Robin Hobb is my favorite fantasy author, but George is the author that I've been with the longest and the one that recommended Robin Hobb to me and so many others. I'll always love George, and he is writing as part of this, so he's doing the writing for the episodes. Obviously, takes him away from what I'd rather that he worked on, but this is amazing stuff that he's doing with this show. He and the other writers. I am so excited. I'm bummed that there's only 3 episodes left after this, but the 3 that we've gotten, 2 of them have been peak TV for me. So really looking forward to seeing where things. I obviously know where things go. I've read the story, but I want to see how it plays out on the big screen. So good stuff there. So that's pretty much all I have as far as my January wrap up. I hope everybody here read some great stuff. I'd love for you to drop in the comments what you've been reading and what you've been enjoying, and we'll just take it from there. And until next time, publication order always, my friends.